Our final presentation this morning is from Trey Fleming of the Integrated Special Purpose AI. And Trey will be previewing the CURT Integrated Special Purpose AI of Modularization and Safety. As with the rest of our presenters, his bio and slides are in the app. So everybody please give your attention, and then we'll move to lunch after this. Trey?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Give me just a second here. I didn't see the new format for the national conference, so I'm still using the format from the November Solution Summit. Hold on just a moment. All right. So as he mentioned, my name is Trey Fleming. I'm the founder and CEO of iSPAI, or Integrated Special Purpose AI. A few of you who have been at some of the solution summits may have seen some of the content I'm going to speak about today, but there is some new stuff here, and we've come quite a bit farther from the, I think, the demo that we did with Kahua probably 6 months ago, which I always love seeing Kahua stuff. They were one of the original build an app very quickly companies out there before AI started doing all this. Very, very cool company they have. So over the next 45 minutes, so we're going to go through the industry constraints, the possibility of AI, a proof point, a personal proof point of how we've used AI to give you some exact examples and numbers behind it, the plan that we have moving forward, some existing use cases that we're working through, as well as what we're working through with CURT. And I was going to deliver a demonstration, but I don't think we're going to have time today, so what I'm going to do is we have a wait list link at the end of this. Those that sign up for the wait list, again, one, you'll get your first 6 months of the first year for free, and we'll do a demonstration for everybody on the wait list next week to take you through in great detail as much as you want to see about what we've built, how it's going to be used, and where we're going with it. So to introduce iSPAI, before we get going, we were founded in November 2024, so we're a little over a year old. I had gotten to know Pete Dumont, if some of you know Pete, Vice Chair of CURT. He was speaking at a conference, I think it was a CII conference he was speaking at about 2 or 3 years ago. And someone had introduced him to me as someone involved in some of the same technology I'd been talking about and working on, so thought we should get together. Turns out Pete and I live about 6 miles apart in a small town called Fulshear, just west of Katy in Houston. So very small world. We got together and started talking about some things, and then he had the foresight to bring us in to introduce to CURT. Some of the things that we're working on is a little further along than where you're going to see a lot of the AI companies out there today. So we're using AI in a lot of ways, but it's a different look into the future of the workforce and the future of the enterprise using iSPAI. So at a high level, our mission is to democratize knowledge and define a new role for humans in an AI-driven future. We're going to do so by solving the problem of knowledge entropy. And what we're starting to see in the market, those of you that are actually really deeply engaged with AI will be seeing similar things. What we're starting to see is that agents are almost becoming commoditized. I mean, they're everywhere. My co-founder who works for ExxonMobil, it's kind of a weird saying, but says, you can't swing a dead cat around without hitting an AI company. There's probably a little softer way to say that, but it's very true. I mean, there's AI companies everywhere. Everyone's trying to become an AI company, and those that aren't talking about AI are almost getting dismissed. There's just a deluge of AI companies. In our perspective, the real value is not necessarily in the agent. There's millions of agents, and we're going to talk about some of the numbers here in a moment. The real value is in the knowledge base behind the agent. And what's been missing for decades, enterprises have been struggling for decades around knowledge entropy, and what's been missing has been the incentives for the workforce to codify their knowledge and the ability for enterprises to capture, retain, utilize, and maintain that same knowledge base in a way that is worth doing. Across iSPAI, we're building the infrastructure to address this gap. So, as we started to work with CURT, getting to know CURT, so last year, over 2025, we spent the first half of the year pretty closely involved with CURT and working with Pete and several folks across the board of directors, and it became very clear that it was really a supply and demand problem right now. The constraints in construction are heavily focused on the expert hours versus the work to be done. There's a massive gap that just keeps increasing. There's not enough expert hours to go around. to make up for the work that needs to be done out in the field. And thinking about CURT as an organization, the entire organization is made up of volunteers. I mean, you guys aren't being paid full-time to help CURT advance the mission of CURT, but CURT is here to help organize this massive collection of knowledge and industry wisdom. You think about what's in this room. How many years of collective experience are in this room? How many lessons learned are in this room? And one of the challenges people have with AI today is that it doesn't know how your business works the way your workforce does. None of it does. There's not an AI tool in the market right now that really actually knows your business. Honestly, I'd say Kahua is probably one of the closer ones out there in that they are core in the construction space and incorporating AI in, same with the Procore. Incorporating AI in is going to help them, bring some context to the AI. But it's really the human knowledge bases behind the AI are really the context for AI to be able to do its job. It needs that human wisdom. It needs that human knowledge to be able to do its job effectively. And as all of you know, I think the most important knowledge and experience inside of any corporation is never what's written down. It's what's walked around. It's walking around among all the workforce. And right now, whether it's from retirements, long approval chains, there was some discussion of that earlier today. In fact, there was some data center conversations. I think Jim Ellis and the team earlier on were talking about there's a massive market for data centers now, as so many of us know. I heard, 2 weeks ago, there's a company that was just funded to start building data centers in space. It's like, that's interesting. It's that difficult to break ground in the United States that we have to start looking to outer space to be able to build data centers. It's like, I can't imagine how the cost model is going to be more effective building in outer space than it would be to build on the ground. But, I mean, it's a complex market. There's a whole lot moving, and there's a lot of need for all kinds of unique innovation that hasn't been seen before. And so, retirements, long approval chains, rework from lost institutional knowledge, all of it is evolving, and the constraint in construction now is not intelligence. It's the number of expert hours available to support anything you're trying to do inside the business. AI changes the math on the expert hours. And it's a huge thing to pay attention to because I suspect across this entire audience and across this entire conference, capital efficiency is a huge focus. I mean, these projects are getting outrageous in their spend, the amount of money, the time it takes to build these projects. You guys have been seeing it for 20, 30 years, consistently. These projects are just massive. There's not a shortage of capital, there's a shortage of capability and intelligent subject matter experts to go around. So, iSPAI is both a case of a proof point of being an AI native company and one of the best examples of the impact of what AI can do for a company, especially a very early stage company, building something, because early stage moves into middle stage really fast now. There's not a 3-year build-up to go from being a first-time startup to becoming a seed round and an A round in your next rounds. There's nothing slow about it anymore at all. Everything's moving at the speed of light. It's absolutely incredible. And so the first half of the year, we spent quite a bit of time with CURT in the traditional manner, with a project team, focused on a proof of concept, on discovery, design, development of a prototype, thinking through the bigger problems, starting to understand the industry, and really trying to apply what the CURT organization and the construction and capital projects industry is facing to the business that we were looking to build with iSPAI. To say we need to make sure that what we're building is actually solving a real problem and not just tech for tech's sake. So as we've been engaged, let me go back one. As we've been engaging with CURT, you start to understand that there's a lot of problems to address that AI now is starting to enable an individual or a very small group of people with high agency to do amazing things. In the second half of 2025, we started working with AI much more intently around what we were building on behalf of CURT. So working with the LLMs that you guys are aware of, so large language models, ChatGPT, Grok, Anthropic. There's so many different tools out there now. To go build an LLM would almost be crazy right now. You would never spend that, it'd be like trying to build another Microsoft. You would never spend that kind of money for something that came out 3 years ago to try to now get into that space and go build an LLM of your own would cost way too much money. So in our world, the LLMs, something like a ChatGPT, that's the base. So I was a baseball player through college, and to be able to hit a baseball, you have to have two things, you have to have a lot of things, but two primary things. You have to have a strong base, and you have to have a strong barrel. The LLMs for us are the base. iSPAI is the barrel. What you do with the two together is what you get out of your workforce. It's where the capital efficiency comes from. It's where all the enhanced productivity is going to come from. So where we work with LLMs, we're working through strategy. We're working on building new workflows. We're working on going through all of our user scenarios. We're using multiple agents against each other. So it's amazing. You go have a conversation with an agent and then come back and test it with another agent. The other agent will call BS on the first agent. And the first agent will call BS on the second agent. And you get a little bit of a conversation going back and forth and let them have that, duke it out. Now let me come back and bring my own wisdom, my own experience to the conversation and say, okay, now let me take a look at what they're putting together and call BS on both of them. And work back and forth until you get what you want out of it. So working with the LLMs are great for conversational back and forth. And I know most of you, how many of you in here have actually worked with an LLM, like a ChatGPT or anything along those lines? By show of hands. I'm assuming most people have kind of touched on it a little bit at least. There's a second AI capability that came out just at the beginning of this year. And it's raise your hands if you've heard the term vibe coding. So a couple of people in here. So vibe coding is a nickname that was given to the next generation of where the LLMs went from being, I'm going to chat with ChatGPT about how to make a recipe, and it's going to give me back a recipe. Or if I ask it correctly and dig in deeper, it'll give me a recipe, and it'll give me an image of that recipe cooked. It'll give me an entire shopping list. It'll place my order at the grocery store and have it delivered to my house the next day, all in about 5 minutes. So you can really get in with an LLM. You can dig in pretty deeply. A vibe coding tool is an LLM with a full stack engineer on the back end. So in natural language, you go talk to it. I mean, for decades, AI has been out for 75 years. It's not a new thing. Most people are starting to pay attention to it in the last 3 years because it learned how to speak human language. It learned how to communicate the language that we speak in rather than us having to speak in code the way it actually speaks. So for the first 75 years, it was all about having to be able to code and having to be able to understand AI language. Now you don't have to. Now you want to do something, you want to build something, you want to build a company, there's a million use cases. But you can go have a conversation just like you would with ChatGPT, but on the back end of it, you're getting a new website. You're getting an application. You can build an application in 20 minutes that can be ready to be approved and put on the App Store, literally in 20 minutes. I mean, it's shocking how fast this can happen now. So thinking about the vibe coding tools, we use Lovable quite a bit. So I'm going to give you a few of the brand names if you want to look them up later on, but Lovable is one of them. There's Replit, there's Windsurf, there's Cursor. There's N8N, a gentleman mentioned a little bit earlier, I think the session before the last one. N8N is a good one. But they're very similar to a ChatGPT. The user interface looks just like a ChatGPT, but you can actually have a conversation with it and get something built on the back end of it. So it's kind of an odd note, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. So on a personal level, I've built a ton of stuff. What we've built with vibe coding, we built a first and second generation of our platform. We've integrated all the APIs. We've built in multiple AI agents into it. I've built an investor application where I can have investors come in and choose their terms, receive a term sheet, and actually have it all happen almost automated, and then set up a meeting with me all in a matter of minutes. We have an investor relationship management app that's like a CRM. That's just what I would do with investors. So it's a personalized CRM that I built in 3 hours, maybe. Has an AI agent inside of it, so I don't have to do if any of you ever worked on like a Salesforce system or any kind of a enterprise system like that where you have to go in and know exactly how to work the system to go put all your information in, I simply go to my agent and say, hey, add Joe to the list, works for this company, lives in this town, we have a meeting coming up in 2 weeks, and it puts it all in the system and puts it wherever I need it in the other areas of the system. And then on a personal level, sitting on the couch next to my wife, watching the Great Canadian Baking Show. In 15 minutes, I'm playing on my phone on Replit, and I built an homage to her feet, which is weird. But they're incredible. I mean, the tools, her feet are pretty cool too. But the agents themselves, what you can do so quickly. I mean, the homage to her feet, her name's Christy, so it was Monty Christos. And it was, meet the big toe, meet the middle toe, meet the pinky toe. It tells you a whole story about it and shows pictures, not actually of her feet, but it was, pictures it put in for me. But hers are just as pretty, so it's important to call that out. But point being, there's an amazing amount of things you can actually do with AI. And if you haven't played with it beyond the ChatGPT level, there's just so much coming, and it's happening so fast. They were talking about it earlier. This isn't something that you learn about now, and 2 years from now you might pick it up. You learn about it now because it'll make your job better in 2 months. I mean, one of the challenges we have out there is all the big enterprises that have all this data, have all this information. It's very hard for them to bring an AI agent when you've got 30 years of customer data sitting out here. I mean, for IBM to bring in a new ChatGPT type of a tool laid over all their systems and let it have access to all their data, they'd be sued by 1,000 companies in a heartbeat because there's so much difficulty in protecting your information from AI agents if you don't know where it's going. Being an AI native company, starting from scratch, you get to build using all these tools from the very beginning. I mean, think about building any one of the big companies out there. If you could go back and start a company over, it doesn't matter what industry it's in, you could start a company over from scratch, but do it now using AI, it would look very different in how you would build it and what you would expect AI to do for you. So within iSPAI, what we've built, so I mentioned, as of April last year, I had zero experience with code. I'd never written code, I'd never read a line of code, never paid attention to coding, never needed to. I was always on the client-facing side on the front end of it. I had great business ideas, but completeness of vision is only one part of it. You've got to have the ability to execute. And historically, you can have great ideas, but if you don't have the ability to execute, you need to go hire a giant team to go execute. So you've got to go raise a ton of money off of an idea and then go execute and then hope that team can actually do what you need it to do. I've been able to, from April to December, end of December, so we published 1.6 million lines of code. It equated to 54,000, a little over 54,000 developer hours. And what mattered was not coding experience. What mattered was domain expertise, it was judgment, it was orchestration. It's some of what we refer to, and I'll speak to here in a few minutes, but we refer to it as being a human over the loop. And you heard a lot about human in the loop. It's a very big thing right now. It's a very active thing across the market. That's the primary focus. Let's get humans in the loop, educating our AI so we can understand what our workforce knows, and then our AI knows it. We don't necessarily need all of our workforce moving forward. And that's fine, but it's a very short-sighted view of how you can use AI. If I can amplify my workforce, if I have 100 employees, and I'm getting the output of 100 employees today, and I can amplify them with AI and now get the output of 1,000 employees, I can go after so much more market share, or I can cut down to 10 employees and just get the same output I had before. A whole lot. I mean, you can cut your way into success or you can grow your way into success. AI is going to make it so much easier to grow your way into success. And, with this, it equated to, and these are not my numbers, this is actually the platform's numbers that I'm working through. It equated to 26 full-time engineers for a year. 9 months, 1.6 million lines of code, 54,000 developer hours, and this is not our team, this is me. This doesn't include what our team did. It doesn't include the project work that we did in the first quarter and a little bit in the second quarter. It doesn't include all the time with all the other AI agents that we've used. This is strictly through vibe coding. One individual, $8 to $10 million worth of payout. We did it for a total capital invested of $225,000. And that's from start to finish over the last 18 months. That's a return on capital employed of over 35%, or 35 times, not 35%, 35 times return on our capital employed. If any company could get that, I mean, it changes the game. It changes the game in the numbers. On projects, on what you're doing as a company, and it wasn't about, learning to code. It's not about hallucination. Done correctly through iSPAI, hallucination goes away. We enable trust and explainability in your relationship with AI. It's a big difference in how you can start to work with AI across the enterprise. This is about recognizing that the entire operating model for the workforce has changed. So has the opportunity for the enterprise. So we have, in 2026, our focus for 2026 is 3 industry launches. We're working on a construction and capital projects launch for the first quarter, which we'll talk about here in a moment. We're launching in the second quarter in oil and gas, starting with the oil and gas, AI and oil and gas conference in April. And then the second half will be working in the public sector. At the federal level, working on building a national knowledge network. We're starting discussions and in discussions with the GSA. It slowed down a little bit at the fourth quarter with the government shutdown, but last conversation we had with the GSA, they said they rated every company they've looked at across the market around AI and rethinking the federal government as red, yellow, or green, only a few of which they rated green. iSPAI is one of those few, which is fantastic because we're such a young company. And in oil and gas, we've got conversations going on right now with the biggest companies in the world around sales and marketing. How do you capture the knowledge base of your sales force in a way that you could actually embed it into an agent and have an agent that guides all your sales force? How can you replace marketing agencies that are coming in that cost them a ton of money but don't understand the campaigns of the past and don't really understand their business? They're just kind of coming in, tell us about your business, and we'll go run a marketing campaign. And our first two angel investors in the beginning of the year both came from oil and gas, and our lead angel is Louis Ehrlich, who's the retired global CIO of Chevron, and our second angel came from, he's a global CIO of Oxy, retired global CIO of Oxy. And in the state government, one of the things we're looking into and working with individual agency CIOs is a program that we call 50 for 1, which is 50 states, one agency. The idea that you can take CIOs across the DMV, align them all together, and give them a network of humans. You can take the CIOs across the DPS, across the HHS. Every different agency can have their own community of practice among that agency across the nation in a way that has AI at the center. So what we built in 2025, we're in beta testing now. So when I say what we built, it's really what we thought through in the first half and what we built in the second half. We're going through beta testing with a small group of users now. Those that join our wait list will get put on that list and start to get to test the platform a little bit earlier than everybody else. And the gist of what we're building, because everything I've been talking about so far has been fairly abstract and vague. I see some smiles, like, okay, get to the point. What we're building is a platform to create, consume, and monetize knowledge for AI. It consists of a knowledge network. So think of Facebook. We're building one platform that applies to every industry and every member of the workforce across the globe. We're starting off by testing it in construction and capital projects. And then when I mentioned oil and gas in the public sector, there are three big areas that can get a lot of value out of what we're building. It starts off with a knowledge network. For individuals, for humans, working as individuals and working together as a team with AI. So you have a knowledge network on one side, and you have a marketplace on the other side for enterprises to consume the outputs of that network. So whether it's one person, whether it's 5 people, whether it's in a company, whether it's outside of a company. We have a private channel for working with your employees. We have a semi-private channel for working with partners, and a public channel for everybody else. And when you think about the public channel, it's not about saying we're going to give all of our public IP as a private company out to the world. But if you've got 5,000 employees, who's to say that by extending your workforce to a decentralized workforce where you now have 500,000 people across the globe that have expertise in areas you care about, helping you solve problems, you can work for this kind of a platform where you can actually bring them in to be part of your knowledge network in a semi-private or a public channel model, protect your IP on one hand, get their engagement on the other hand, and offer compensation appropriately for those that can actually help. And this is about doing work with AI. It's not about just finding more humans. Humans are fantastic. We've got the wisdom AI needs to be able to do its job correctly, but AI, it's like having a PhD in your hip pocket in every direction. Every computer you have, your laptops, your phone, the computing devices inside your washing machines at home. Computers can do a million things in a minute. It's for a computer to get a prompt out of a human is like pulling teeth. It's the slowest thing a computer's ever going to face. It's just waiting for you to tell it what to do. And again, it can do a million things in a minute. And we can introduce ourselves on stage in a minute. And it can do a million things. It's what do you want to apply it to be able to get the value out of it that you can get. So we have a network and a marketplace, a network for humans, a marketplace for enterprises to consume what humans put out, and we have an AI agent at the center named Giblet, which orchestrates both the network and the marketplace on behalf of the entire community. So as you start to see what we're building, those are some pretty cool things, but the real innovation is not just in the network and the marketplace, it's in the economic engine we've built behind it. If it was just simply, Jay takes his knowledge base and puts it out on a platform and puts it into a marketplace waiting for a company to come consume it, they would be Amazon. And that's fine, but we built a model where enterprises create demand, the workforce creates supply, everybody works together in a bi-directional flywheel. So an enterprise says, we want to solve problem X and we'll pay $100,000 to do it. The team that solves it gets $100,000. The person that orchestrates that solution, it might take 9 or 10 different knowledge bases to solve that particular solution with AI. The composer that puts together that solution gets a third of the bounty. So $100,000 bounty, the composer that builds that solution gets 33 grand. The remaining 67,000 gets distributed among the 9 different communities that built those knowledge bases. And it's all done automatically through smart contracts behind the scenes. It's a fascinating model. It's being used in decentralized science. It's being used in a bunch of different areas out in the world. It's just never been brought into enterprise yet. For all the obvious constraints every one of you have in your mind right now about, okay, how might this actually apply and how would we protect our information? How do you keep IP from getting out? How do you own your IP if the enterprise owns it? We're not asking enterprises to give up their IP. We're asking them to enable the workforce to have their own IP as well in a little bit different way than it's been done in the past, because now you have AI by your side. You can do so much more so quickly. So I'm going to go through a few use case examples, and we have like 5-6 minutes left. Okay, we'll get you all to lunch on time. So Giblet Construct. So this is what CURT will be. It's one of the things that CURT will be using. There's a bunch of different AI tools they're going to be using inside their toolkit. The marketplace we're building we have a channel for CURT, where CURT members work together, and CURT can help orchestrate some of the solutions, and member companies as volunteers can come in here and contribute and get attribution, and where appropriate, get compensation. It may not always be appropriate for a volunteer of a company working for a nonprofit to get compensation, but attribution matters. Where there's not, you think of a private channel and a semi-private channel, we offer attribution so you build a reputation. We call it a GIB rating. It's going to tell the world how good you are at working individually and as a team with AI. A higher GIB rating means you're probably somebody better to have on a team. You're able to get more out of AI. And where you see there's things out there, play to earn, there's all these gaming things where you're playing a video game and you can earn money by building a new tank and bringing it into the game. You can play that game and earn money by bringing your tools in. We have something called Earn to Play. You have to earn the right to be part of my knowledge network. It's not about having 1 million followers like you have on Facebook, because it's not about marketing. It's not about advertising. It's about having the right 5 people in your knowledge network so you can solve a problem when an enterprise comes in and wants to solve a problem. So Giblet Construct, think of it as being educated by 25 years of CURT content, organized and built by CURT members on behalf of CURT members for use by CURT members. Giblet for GRC. This is a couple of members that we have in the platform that want to build a GRC agent. Governance, risk, and compliance. The Big Four can use that's dynamic and always current, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what state or what country or where you're working, no matter the region you're in, at any time with AI-enabled kind of governance, risk, and compliance, they're building a knowledge base to build this solution that can then be available to any enterprise that wants to go out and acquire it. You can buy it, you can license it, you can collaborate with it, and you can even have them invest it in your solution if they're going to stake it in your solution. So there's 4 different economic models for people inside the platform. It's not about us making money off of those tools. We aren't making money off of CURT. We have an individual license model. Creators are $20 a month, and composers are $50 a month. A very simple commercial model for individuals. And for private enterprises, every knowledge base they mint is $50. It's a very simple compensation model. We have, Giblet for oil and gas. In upstream, there's an example, if I still have time to give it. My previous company that I was working for in AI, we were building something for BP. Very similar to what a lot of AI companies are building now, where you're trying to build an agent for that company to own internally. We were taking the knowledge base of one particular subject matter expert and encoding that into the AI agent, so now the AI agent knew what that person knew about sand production at the well, and they could deploy it around the world and have a well health advisor. In our world, that employee owns their own knowledge base, and they can license it to the enterprise rather than having the enterprise have their knowledge base and now they're no longer needed. It doesn't mean they're licensing BP's data, BP's information, not at all. But the wisdom of the workforce is not about the data for the company they work for. The wisdom of the workforce is about the 35 years of experience that you want to capture into a bottle and find some way to use it. some of the workforce, not all the work. Some of them, you might want to kind of push them out. But the ones that you really want to capture their wisdom, their expertise, the new competitive advantage is going to be the enterprises that can bundle together AI with the wisdom of the workforce. It's a different way of thinking about it, and every one of these solutions represent a community of practice with a wallet and attribution for what they create. You build it, you own it. If AI uses your knowledge, your content, your data, your intellectual property, your wisdom, you should be recognized and where appropriate compensated. Nothing is more fundamental than that. So we're doing a pre-production pilot. We're inviting CURT members to get involved and play a role in this. There's no cost to it. We aren't looking for money right now. We're not looking for revenue. We're looking for feedback. We're looking for input on what we're building. Is it solving a real problem? Are we truly going to help solve a problem using this model? We want people's feedback. We want their skepticism. If you think the stuff I talk about or any of the technology behind it, some of you know the technology, if you think it's BS, call me out on it. Let's have a conversation. Everything that we're doing has been proven individually in its components outside of the enterprise. We're simply bundling together the Legos of capability in a way that can be used inside the enterprise in an appropriate manner. With CURT, we're focusing on safety and modularization. So thinking about very simply taking two blueprints that are already out there. How do you take blueprints that were started in 2017 or 2019, 2018, and make them current for today? How do you get members to put input on those documents to make better content? It's how do you create new and better knowledge using AI? And then moving beyond that, how can enterprises consume it? If we want the blueprint for modularization to be valued by Bechtel, Bechtel's got a huge team on modularization. They've got a huge team on safety. We've got, for content from this body to be valuable for those organizations, it's got to have some heft to it. They're all using AI themselves. So the value of CURT is the collective knowledge base sitting in this room. It's not contained to just one individual company. You've got so much knowledge and wisdom in this room. It's how do we bundle it together in a way that recognizes the wisdom of the workforce. So, and I mentioned before, waitlist members will receive 50% off their first year. Again, we're not looking for revenue at this point. We'll have more than money than we know what to do with when it comes to building. There's a company that just last week was announced that is just starting up to start, it's a research lab, starting up to start thinking about what we started thinking about 5 years ago. They just got a $400 million seed round. It's a seed round. Seed rounds are usually $2 to $5 million. They just got a $400 million seed round to start thinking about better collaboration among the workforce and AI. We're 5 years into thinking through the problem. We're a year into discovery, design, and development, and we're going to have a product on the market in the first quarter, by the end of the first quarter. I mean, we're ahead of everybody, and we've done it again. $225,000 in capital employed. It's incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. For those of you that are interested, we have a wait list, QR code, scan the QR code, put yourself on the wait list. Some of the biggest investors out in the world are talking about there being 1 to 10 AI agents for every human on the planet. It's 80 billion AI agents running around the internet, doing much of the work that we as humans are doing today. I don't personally have a problem with AI doing my job. I have a huge problem with AI taking my job. But to think that way, we've got to think differently about what our job actually is. In an AI-driven future, we have to evolve from being humans in the loop, which we've heard a lot about, training AI to replace us, to become humans over the loop, enabling AI to represent us. We're building the infrastructure to do exactly that. So I know we're out of time. I'll be at lunch, happy to take questions. If anybody wants to stick around and ask questions. If anybody wants to stick around and see a demo, I'll sit by my computer and we can play around here and do a demo, or we can do something over lunch. But again, if you sign up on the wait list, we'll set up a demo next week. We'll send out a note to everybody on the wait list to join the demo, and we'll record it so you can see it. It really is pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of fun to see what we've built. And again, it's the very early version. Nobody remembers what the first version of Google looked like. Nobody remembers the first version of Facebook. But Facebook started inside of a university, a very small community, and then expanded to another one. We're doing the same thing. We're starting inside a community that matters, where it's focused on construction and capital projects. We'll go from there to other areas, but in an AI-driven future, success is not going to be a zero-sum game. This is something where 2 heads are better than 1, 4 heads are better than 2. The wisdom of the workforce paired up with AI is going to be a new competitive advantage, and it's worth everyone digging in. And if anybody in here has any questions, wants to dig in, certainly fire away. You know, this is all I have for this presentation. I know we're up on time and lunch is about to start. I'll open it up for questions.
I have a question. What's the relation regarding the modularization and the plumbing? I see you should talk about the modularization, but nothing about modularization. How did you help modularization with AI? You didn't prepare for anything here. No evidence. Just advertising.
So part of the demo I was going to show, and again, we don't have time for the full demo, but it's taking knowledge bases. You know, I don't have modularization content out on the platform.
It was in your title.
Yes?
Nothing will refer to that.
In our pilot we're doing with CURT, we're working on the two different pieces. We're working on safety and we're working on modularization. There's been a modularization blueprint out there for a while, and there's been a safety blueprint out there for a while. So we're working on enabling the members of CURT to be able to come in and enhance those pieces of content as one of the first use cases to test the platform in a way that you can actually go out and say, you can add your content, he can add his content, she can add her content, you all receive the appropriate attribution for it, and now you're tied to the content as it progresses forward. So it's a starting point. This isn't about going out to the plant level yet and replacing people actually doing the work. This is more about thinking through the work differently and combining together as a community of practice together on your own, you know, across companies. So apologies if I didn't walk through a modularization specific example. The pilot that we have coming up, you know, and I can show you through a demo, I can show you how we pull documents in. I have some old examples of content, and I've got 40 other knowledge bases on the platform. Part of what we do with Giblet, you can actually connect knowledge bases to Giblet. You can merge knowledge bases, you can merge chat threads. It's something you can't do with LLMs out there today, where you can actually take old chat threads and merge them together. You can take multiple chat threads and bring them together. I can bring your knowledge base together with my knowledge base, and we can merge them together in a way that actually takes your expertise in modularization and perhaps my expertise in a different area over here, pulls them together in a way that actually drives attribution to the individual creators involved. Does that help a little bit? A little bit, that's fine. Fair enough. Anybody else? All right. Well, then I guess we will head to lunch. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and take care. All right, you're good. Thanks.
Let's give one more round of applause for Trey, please. Thank you for your time and thank you for sharing.